Welcome to or welcome back to my channel, Me, My Dog and Books. I'm Zahra, and today a couple of you had a great recommendation, which was when I was doing my reorganising my bookshelf video, I exposed myself for having a lot of books on my shelves that I haven't read yet. I'm not the only one, I'm sure. I'm sure this, sorry, a wee bit squinty there. I'm sure this is a problem many of us bookworms have. Indulge me, and if you don't, just say yes. I'm not alone. Anyway, as discussed with a couple of you in my comments, sorry, my hair's very fluffy today. I thought ahead of the start of each month, I could pick 10 books from my bookshelves that I haven't read, which is easy to do, and get yous to pick 2 from this pile that I should read in June. And then you're holding me accountable to all the books that I've not read on my bookshelf to try and make my way through my actual physical TBR. Don't even talk to me about my virtual one. Anyway, so what I thought I'd do, I've just randomly gone round my bookshelves after work this evening, because I'm filming this on Monday evening, and randomly picked out 10. All of them, I mean, to be fair, all the books after rearranging my bookshelves I still want to read if I haven't read them already. So, but I don't know where to start. I had to go and get Patty because she was eating my newly laid turf. Well, there isn't a lot of it. Oh, you're dropping it. There's just a strip, but it smells of manure, and so you're wanting to give it a right good chomp. Wee scallywag. Bought that to try and grow the grass. Honestly, they have eyes in the back of your head with them. Anyway, what was I saying? So, in no particular order, I'm going to go through these and hopefully get your thoughts in the comments of 2 books. So if you're able just to have a think, but I'll select the 2 books that have the most mentions in my comments, and those are the 2. I'll let you know, obviously I'll maybe try and do a June TBR what they are. So let's get started in no particular order. I'll start with this one, which is The Good Liars by Anita Frank. I'm not gonna lie, like with most of these books, I'm not really sure I know what they're about. But this was one that I was given to me by HQ Stories to read because I liked the sound of it. As you can see. I hope you're enjoying. I still haven't read it. So let's see. You'd better batten down the hatches. I hear there's a storm coming. In the summer of 1914, a boy vanishes never to be seen again. Now in the 1920s, the once esteemed Stillwell family of Dackacre Hall find themselves struggling with the legacy of the First World War. Leonard bears the physical scars while his brother Maurice has endured more than his mind can take. Maurice's wife Ida yearns for the lost days of privilege and pleasure, and family friend Victor seems unwilling to move. But their lives are thrown into further disarray when the missing boy's case is reopened, and this time they themselves are under police scrutiny. As the dead return to haunt the living, old resentments resurface and loyalties are tested, while secrets risk being unearthed that could destroy them all. So, sounds like historical fiction mystery. I'm not aware of the author. I don't know if any of you are. She's written a book called, she's from Shropshire. This is her 3rd novel, and she's written one called The Lost Ones and the Return, which, solely based on the cover, look a bit more like historical fiction. Gets a lot of positive blurb. So, option 1, The Good Liars by Anita Frank. Next up is one, oh, I've had this on my shelf legit before the Panny D time, so before like 2020. That's terrible. Actually, I bet you if I look, oh, 2019. Okay, so this one is non-fiction, and it's on Our Women on the Ground, Arab Women Reporting from the Arab World. So, so it sounds like an essay collection maybe. Yeah, it's an essay collection. And it says 19 Arab women journalists speak out about what it's like to report on their changing homelands in this first of its kind essay collection, with a foreword by CNN Chief International Correspondent Christine Amanpour. So in their own words, they tell about the conflict and what it's like to report on them, that and that it quite literally hits close to home. Their daring and heartfelt stories, told here for the first time, shatter stereotypes about the region's women and provide an urgently needed perspective on parts of the world that is frequently misunderstood. So that's our women on the ground, Arab women reporting from the Arab world. You see Patty? She's rolling about. She rolls about and gets like her hair all sticking up like a Mohican. She's a wee maniac. So yeah, from historical fiction to non-fiction to, what is this? Bunny by Mona Awad. Now, I've read one, maybe two of Mona's books and they were weird. Rouge was the one that I read more recently and I didn't get it. But this one comes highly recommended. Plus, who doesn't love a bright pink cover? So it's called Bunny. And it is blurbed by the likes of Margaret Atwood and Lena Dunham. So let's read the blurb together. We call them bunnies because that is what they call each other. Seriously, bunny. Samantha Heather McKay is an outsider in her small, highly selective MFA programme at Warren University. In fact, she is utterly repelled by the rest of her fiction writing cohort, a clique of unbearably twee rich girls who call each other bunny. But then the bunnies issue her with an invitation and Samantha finds herself inexplicably drawn to their front door, across the threshold and down their rabbit hole, blending sharp satire with fairy tale horror. Bunny is a spellbinding trip of a novel from one of fiction's most original voices. I still actually don't really know what this is about. But the cover is beautiful. It says, so Lena Dunham says, one of the most pristine and delightful attacks on popular girls since Clueless, made me nod and cackle in terrified recognition. Clueless Mean Girls? Anyway, mind-bending horror. Now this one I bought because because of Instagram, but also the cover and the title, and it sounded beautiful. So it's called Welcome to the Hyunam-dong Bookshop, the runaway Korean sensation. Look at the cover. It says, there is only one thing on her mind: I must start a bookshop. Who doesn't love about bookshops? So actually I don't know what it's about because it doesn't really have a, that's just about the author. It doesn't have a synopsis, does it? No. There's lots of chapters. Oh, here we go. Young Jing did everything she was supposed to go to university, marry a decent man and get a respectable job. Then it all fell apart. Burned out, she abandons her own life, quits her high-flying career and follows her dream. She opens a bookshop in a quaint neighbourhood in Seoul, surrounded by books. Youngju, I think, I'll correct my pronunciation of that, and her customers take refuge. From the lonely barista to the unhappily married coffee roaster and the writer who sees something special in Youngju, they all have disappointments in their past. The Hyunam-dong Bookshop becomes a place where they all learn how to truly live. A heartwarming story about finding comfort and acceptance in your life and the healing power of books. How nice does this sound? So this is option number 4. Next 5 is Out There Screaming, edited by Jordan Peele, an anthology of new black horror. Also, look at the end papers. Is that what you call them? Anyway, I love horror movies, and hence I love reading and watching diverse horror. So this is an anthology of new black horror. So, Jordan Peele, the visionary writer and director of Get Out, as a Nope and founder of Monkey Paw Productions, introduces and curates this groundbreaking anthology of brand new stories of black horror, exploring not only the terrors of the supernatural but also the chilling reality of injustice that haunts our world. So I think it's like a selection of, yeah, different stories by different authors. So it sounds good. Featuring forward by Jordan Peele, an all-star roster of beloved writers and new voices out there screaming as a masterclass in horror, like the spine-chilling films, its stories prey on everything we think we know about our world and redefine what it means to be afraid. Very afraid. Also, this cover. Right. So they are the first 5. The last 5. Oh. That gurgle is my dishwasher. Right, firstly, I think I bought this one second hand and it's got an annoying sticky. I have no idea. I think it was a fellow booktuber, can't remember who, easily 2 years ago, that mentioned, also if you're hearing big thuds, the OH is upstairs doing his exercise. Anyways, this is called The Good People by Hannah Kent, award-winning author of Burial Rites. I don't think I've read that, but also, you love the floppy book. I do. At the time I read what it was about and really wanted to read it. I have forgotten it, I don't know what it's about. In the year 1825, in a remote valley lying between the mountains of southwest Ireland near the Flesk River of Killarney, 3 women are brought together by strange, troubling events. Nora Leah has lost her daughter and husband in the same year and is now burdened with the care of her 4-year-old grandson, Michael. The boy cannot walk or speak, and Nora, mistrustful of the tongues of gossip, has kept the child hidden from those who might see in his deformity evidence of otherworldly interference. Sorry, I'm a bit close to the camera. Unable to care for the child alone, Nora hires 14-year-old servant girl Mary, who soon hears the whispers in the valley about the blasted creature causing grief to fall upon the widow's house. Alone, hedged in by rumour, Mary and her mistress seek out the only person in the valley who might be able to help Michael. For although her neighbours are wary of her, it is said that old Nance Roche has the knowledge and that she consorts with them, the good people, and that only she can return those whom they have taken. Sounds kind of eerily spooky and historical. Oh, look at this sun that's coming out. I'm heading out after this to paint a fence. This is way more fun. I might stay and just read all these, but apparently adulting requires more of me. So this other one is non-fiction, and I've had this on my shelf for easily 5 or 6 years now. It's called Cut from the Same Cloth, and it is edited by Sabeena Akhtar. So it's another also essay collection. Muslim women on life in Britain. The cover's gorgeous, isn't it? So from modern pop culture to anti-blackness, faith and family, politics, education, creativity and work in life, this anthology gives visibly Muslim women a space to speak. Spoiler alert, they won't be answering the usual questions. Perceived as the visual representation of Islam, hijab-wearing Muslim women are nevertheless rarely afforded a platform on their own terms. Harangued by awkward questions, radical commentators sensationalising our existence, non-Muslims and non-hijab making assumptions, men speaking on our behalf, or stereotypical norms being perpetrated by the same old faces, hijabis are tired. Cut from the Same Cloth seeks to tip the balance back in our favour. Here, 21 women of all ages and races Look beyond the tired tropes, exploring the breadth of our experience and spirituality. Why can't I say spirituality? Oh, that's Lucy. Lucy! 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 Don't join in, Patty. Shush. I think it might be an Amazon delivery. Come up here. Yeah. Delivery, not for me, so I'm not happy. Up here. Up. Here. Here. Up, up. Look. Come on. Look. Look. Lucy. 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 Here. It's everything on our own terms. There you are. Look. What are we doing, Lucy? What are we doing? We're recording on YouTube. You're not saying hello to our friends? Anyway, rudely interrupted by the DVD delivery person. Where was I? I couldn't say the word spirituality. There we go. Just need to take a letter at a time. It's time we as a society stop the hijab splaining and make space for women who know. And then it's got essays by names them all. Non-fiction. Then the last three are fiction. First is the most recent book by Catriona, Awad, who wrote The Last House in Needless Street, which was one of my favourite books of either 2021 or 2022, I can't remember. Immediately pre-ordered this when it was announced. Let me see when that came out. April 20th, 2023. God, I need you guys to help pick what I'm reading. This is terrible. Terrible, terrible. Right, so let me read to you what it's about. Writers are monsters. We eat everything we see. In a windswept cottage overlooking the sea, Wilder Harlow begins the last book he will ever write. It is the story of his childhood companions and the shadowy figure of daggermen who stalked the New England town where they spent their summers of a horror. Where they spent their summers. Of a horror that followed Wilder through the decades. And of Skye, Wilder's one-time friend who stole his unfinished memoir and turned it into a lurid best-selling novel, The Sound and the Dagger. This book will be Wilder's revenge on Skye, who betrayed his trust and died without ever telling him why. But as he writes, Wilder begins to find notes written in Skye's signature green ink, and events in his manuscript start to chime eerily with the present. Is Skye haunting him? And who is the dark-haired woman drowning in the cove, whom no one else can see? No longer able to trust his own eyes, Wilder feels his grip on reality slipping, and he begins to fear that this will not only be the last book, but the last thing he ever does. To be fair, Catriona Awad writes some of the best horror, in my personal opinion. So I'm desperate to read that. As you can tell, I pre-ordered it, and a year later still haven't read it. The next one a friend sent to me because I love Bird Box by Josh Malerman. It's an amazing book, and the film actually is a very good, sorry if you've got itchy eyes, very good adaptation of the book. And then Malorie is the sequel to Bird Box. So if you've not read Bird Box, don't read this. If you had read Bird Box, you probably want to read this. Oh, it's got good chunky sized writing. Suburbia, so the kids are outside. In the old world where there were many rules, in the new world there is only one that matters. Don't open your eyes. In the 17th years since the creatures appeared, many people have broken that rule. Many have looked, many have lost their minds, their lives and their loved ones. In that time, Malorie has raised her two children, Olympia and Tom, on the run or in hiding. Now nearly teenagers, survival is no longer enough. They want freedom. When a census taker stops by their refuge, he is not welcome, but he leaves a list of names of survivors, building a future upon the darkness. And on that list are two names Malorie knows. Two names for whom she'll break every rule. and take her children across the wilderness in the hope of becoming a family again. Josh Malerman writes really good psychological horror. That's one. Or the author of my favourite book of 2023, which was On the Savage Side, is Tiffany McDaniel, and the book before that book was Betty. I haven't read this yet. It's beautiful. And I am 100% going to read it this year. I still haven't. And it's nearly halfway through the year. So what's it about? It's actually based on her mother or her grandmother. Anyway, I'll tell you. A girl comes of age against the knife. So that begins the story of Betty Carpenter. Born in a bathtub in 1954 to a Cherokee father and a white mother, Betty is the 6th of 8 siblings inhabiting a world of poverty and violence. When her family's darkest secrets are brought to light, Betty has no choice but to reckon with the brutal history hiding in the hills, as well as the heart-wrenching cruelties and incredible characters she encounters in her rural town of Breathed, Ohio. Breathed or breathed? But despite the hardship she faces, Betty is resilient. Her curiosity about the natural world, her fierce love for her sisters, and her father's brilliant stories are kindling for the fire of her own imagination, and in the face of all she bears witness to, Betty discovers an escape. She begins to write. A heartbreaking yet magical story, Betty is a punch in the gut of a novel full of crushing cruelty of human nature and the redemptive power of words. And I'm sure it's based on her grandmother. Oh no, it's her mother. It's at the start. It says, my mother Betty was born on February 12th, 1954 in Ozark, Arkansas. She was born to a woman as telling as a dream and to a man who was a Cherokee, a moonshiner and a myth maker. One of 12 children, my mother came of age in the foothills of Ohio Appalachians. This book is part dance, part song, and part shine of the moon. Above everything else, this story is always and forever the Little Indians. I love you, Mum. This book is for you and all your ancient magic. Okay, that might be a heartbreaker. I will list all of these books in the description. And I want you to tell me which two I will make it into my June TBR, and you will keep me accountable to making sure I read them. See, even just by doing this, I'm feeling accountable now. So, let me know. And whichever books gets the most comments. I mean, what if... Actually, if, say, one book's a front runner and then the second book gets the same amount of comments, what I'll do is I'll put a post with a poll on it for you to pick. Or I'll just do 3. It's a quicker way to get through my TBR. Anyway, I need your help, so please help me. Pick my book for me, because I'm really indecisive. I'm a mood reader, and then I'll flip and flop, and then I'll read too many at once, and then I'll never find any, and then I'll never finish any, and then I'll just buy more books instead of reading the ones I own. So, the power is in your hands. Pick 2 of my books to read in June. And I thank you and love you all in advance. Muchos appreciated. Thanks for any comment relating to this. And also, let me know if you do want me to do this again in June for what I might read in July. That'd be helpful. If you found this helpful or even interesting to watch, let me know. Anyway, thanks again as always for watching, for commenting, for liking. And if you don't already, please do subscribe. And if you do, thank you. See you next time.